I'm here with Peter Lupoff of TIBURON Capital Management, who's moderating a session tomorrow afternoon. Peter is an investor in credit and distressed funds. Peter, tell me, in these difficult markets, does that present you with options and opportunities, or with difficulties?
In my last monthly letter, my quote was, a Chinese proverb, out of disaster comes opportunity. And there are two ways of looking at what happened in May. One is to put on hedges in your book that ring out risks that you don't contemplate, and the second is, what does market tumult, what opportunities come from market tumult, and there are a multitude of them.
It must be very difficult to tell what's good and what's bad when things happen as fast as they did in May.
Well, there's a difference between market price and value. So the trick is to continue to be long those companies that are fundamentally sound. For us, in my strategies, that have real catalysts that move those securities in a step function change up, and to be short those companies that are fundamentally weak, similarly with a catalyst that will drive those securities down, and to be somewhat agnostic about the broader markets. The way that that sounds very flippant, but the way that you can be agnostic about the broader markets is to make sure that your portfolio is hedged to wring some of the market risk out, so that you can focus just on what you do as a manager. What we do as a manager is identify idiosyncratic trades that move upon catalysts, and that really should be uncorrelated to the broader markets.
And then this afternoon, when you're chairing your session, the other panelists, do you think they'll have had similar experiences to you? What will they be talking about?
I think, having had conversations with each of these panelists, most of whom I've known for a number of years, that are in my space, there's a uniformly bearish view going into the end of the year. There's nothing that most of us see on the horizon that gives rise to a view that capital markets are expanding, that companies will continue to perform well in a macro environment where there's sovereign crises, and where the consumer can go on strike or be posed with austerity, as they're being posed with in Europe. However, as mentioned, out of this also comes opportunity. There are certainly going to be those circumstances where we can identify securities of companies that will outperform, as the expression goes, where the baby is thrown out with the bathwater. And conversely, there are those companies that will be at significant risk for these macro factors that can really drive them into default.
And coming to GAIM, what does it mean to you?
Well, I've come to GAIM every year since 2003. I've been a speaker on this panel in the early years, 03, 04. I've moderated this panel for the last 4 or 5 years as well. I come to this event every year because this is where decision makers attend. I have a great opportunity in a few short days in a beautiful location to renew old friendships, to make new ones, and to develop a closer bond with my client base, which are by and large European investors.
Peter Lupoff, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.